Only Lewis Hamilton who's had the ability, who's had the mental agility, and who's had the drive and the need after all these championships.
According to Ted Kravitz, Lewis Hamilton will be questioning whether he wants to stay with Mercedes after their shocking start to the season. Hamilton, he claims, will be hesitant if he wants to stick around in a vehicle that will only be a midfield runner this season. So what future does Lewis Hamilton has with the latest challenges and his recent form? Ted Kravitz stated that the seven-time champion enjoys fighting and wants to avenge the injustices of losing the title last season, which might persuade him to stay. In an interview with Sky Sports F1, he stated, "Lewis Hamilton always wants to have a fight for something to be perfect for, whether it's something off track or something on it. He always needs to have a fight on his hands in order to motivate himself. He's always at his best when he's fighting against something. But this is the ultimate fight, having a car that even if he does galvanize himself and the team, he is only capable of being a midfield runner. That is not the situation that Mercedes are used to. He'll be questioning his future within the team as to whether he wants to hang around for that." Mercedes' issues seem to be worsening at Imola, with the team's third fastest car position under threat. Both drivers failed to qualify for the Q3 shootout, with Hamilton falling behind in the sprint race. It is not the first time Hamilton's future has been called into doubt, with Martin Brundle stating that if his Mercedes vehicle is not competitive, he would resign. If he goes through the whole year and Mercedes is third fastest and others are catching them up, then I suspect he will take a different view, and my enjoyment analogy will play out in that he will not be enjoying it anymore, Brundle said after the first race in Bahrain. Tensions flared at Mercedes as Hamilton and team chief Toto Wolff was seen having intense meetings. In a nutshell, there was a will-he-won't-he argument about Lewis Hamilton's future in Formula One throughout the winter. We were made to believe for a brief period that the seven-time world champion was so disillusioned by the events of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix that he was ready to walk away. Nonetheless, he recovered, if not quite to the level he would have expected from a giant like Mercedes, which has long ruled the circuit. Hamilton understands that his third position in Bahrain was a gift from Red Bull's fuel troubles, but he also knows that fifth place is now the most he can hope for in terms of outright pace in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Much has been made of Mercedes' problems and rush to regain competitiveness before the prancing horse of Ferrari bolts alongside Red Bull to set up a two-way title chase. If the difficulties continue, doubts about Hamilton's future will arise. At the age of 37, he has remained in the sport not just to compete for a spot in the top 5, but also to break the all-time record of 8 world titles. It has always been about the motivation for Hamilton, mostly about being the quickest and his on-track rivalry, but also about advancing his passions outside of the vehicle, such as more diversity and inclusiveness in F1. However, if last season's title opponent Max Verstappen and the newest and most probable danger to the driver's crown on early indications, Charles Leclerc, continue to fade into the distance, such incentive may be difficult to extract. That time has almost definitely not arrived. The same energy and dedication could be seen and heard in Hamilton's 16th season in the paddock at the Bahrain Grand Prix. In the aftermath of the race, he was spotted laughing and joking with the Mercedes engineers, and an enthusiastic radio transmission after the checkered flag for a podium finish that never looked like a possibility hardly indicated a driver eager to go off into the sunset. Hamilton enjoys channeling the collective strength behind him. His message was one of appreciation to everybody in Bahrain and back at the plant in Brackley for achieving more than the W13 was capable of in terms of racing results, and how this was only the beginning of the necessary reconstruction. There is also the desire to defeat a new teammate in George Russell. Russell, unsurprisingly, finished second in his maiden race as a full-time Mercedes Works driver. However, if Hamilton equals him, he risks being spooked, as he has in the past. Mercedes wants to keep their most valuable asset pleased, and the simplest way to do so is to enhance the automobile. According to Andrew Shovlin, trackside engineering director, this will need some effort. There is bouncing, the balance is poor, there is a lack of low-speed grip, we are struggling on traction, the drivability could be better, the tire warm-up is insufficient, and the car is a little on the heavy side, he added of the car. We have a lot of work to do. This is his poorest start to a season since 2009, as well as his worst points return after 4 races. So, what is going wrong for the Brit? Sportsmail investigates the possible causes of Hamilton's fall from being 1 lap away from a record 7th title in December to being among the also-rans barely 4 months later. Here are some reasons for the bad forms. lack of motivation. Hamilton had all the incentive he needed during the winter when he was controversially pipped into the world title on the penultimate lap of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in the most dramatic way after circumstances at the Yas Marina circuit worked heavily against him due to late safety car procedures. So Image storing up all that energy over the winter in preparation for a new title challenge to eventually claim that record-breaking 8th World Championship, only to get in the vehicle 3 months later and discover it is not up to par. It is made harder for Hamilton by the fact that he has been prominently involved in every Formula One title race since 2014. It would be difficult for any driver, let alone one of Hamilton's caliber, like robots at 100% efficiency all of the time, and Hamilton may just be off his game at the start of the season, having had to severely cut his aspirations and expectations so early in the year, having already conceded he is out of contention for the title. On the decline. Have we seen the finest of Hamilton yet? Despite the high physical needs of current times, the candle of a racing driver's performance tends to burn a little longer over time than those in other sports. But it does not mean they can continue indefinitely, and Hamilton, at 37 years old, is most likely nearing the end of his F1 career. Only the greats tend to hang around for much longer, and it is never known how long they will last. In more recent times, Michael Schumacher struggled to regain his greatest form at Mercedes in his 40s after 3 seasons away from F1, while Kimi Raikkonen's speed looked to progressively drain away as he reached his late 30s before retiring quietly at 42 last season. However, not every driver is the same, and while Hamilton may not have many years at the top of the sport ahead of him, he might find consolation in an old foe, in Fernando Alonso. The Spaniard, who will be 41 this year, has also had a slow start to the season, but this has been mostly due to technical difficulties beyond his control, and he has usually been on pace or faster than his well-respected Alpine teammate Esteban Ocon. So, while Hamilton's age-related decline is unavoidable and may have already begun, there is no reason why he should not fight near the top again, and it definitely does not explain the whole amount of his precipitous slide in fortunes in only a few months. Do you think Lewis Hamilton has a fighting chance this season? Is there any indication from your perspective that he is going to walk out? Leave your views, questions, and thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.